Yo, what is up, everybody? This is Mike and Kyle from the Fantasy Phenom. We are here to do a quick recap of what is now a distant 6-game slate on Tuesday and look ahead to what is now today everywhere, even in my time, 2 a.m., today's 10-game slate. So we have a ton of games to choose from, a lot of good matchups, and I think cash lines are going to be really high.
Yeah, this slate is eerily similar to Monday night with all the high price guys and a lot of other guys in good spots.
So, what if anything have we learned from the last couple days, Mike, about the value plays?
We have learned that if you are not at your computer at 6:50 my time, or I guess 10 minutes before lock, you are screwed.
So
100% screwed.
So tell me, I don't know. This is something that I've heard and I've kind of looked at. People have said that the value isn't necessarily the guy that's being plugged in, but the opponent. So there's a reason that guy is a backup that's plugging in, right? So that makes the opponent's matchup better. For example, I'm not going to say Bogdanovich against Kawhi. You know what I mean? Like Bogdanovich, I don't even know how he did that game. He might have done well. But his matchup becomes better because Kawhi's not playing. If that makes sense. That's just an example. The first example I could think of.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends. I don't think you can weigh them both the same. For example, like you just mentioned Kawhi. So I don't think you can say because Kawhi is out, the guy that his backup is playing is in a better spot than his backup. I think you really have to look at the whole points per minute perspective. For example, Norman Powell today, he averages 15 fantasy points in 15 minutes on the season, and he played 40 minutes today and scored 30 DraftKings points. So that's why they're considered value. The fact that they are getting extended minutes and they are
cheap,
right?
But on the flip side, like I said, it's entirely a game-by-game basis and a player-by-player basis. But I think too often we look at the substitute for said player instead of who they're playing. So, like I said, all of a sudden when Kyle Anderson comes in for Kawhi, you have to take a look at his opponent, the opposing small forward, and say, who is it, and is he in a position to take advantage of a lesser defender?
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is it's worth reevaluating.
100%. And obviously,
it's definitely worth reevaluating, but I don't think that necessarily means that they automatically come into play.
No, definitely not. I'm just saying you have to look at it from the entire slate because I can guarantee you the opponent, the guy going up against that value play, is going to be a lot lower owned.
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone's going to hop on the Kyle Anderson and the DeJounte Murray as opposed to the guy that they're facing.
Yeah, again, I think it's for good reason, though. I think what they're going to do in comparison to what their price is going to be obviously more than what any other starter could do. So I think you have to obviously look at the value when it opens up. That's kind of been the key to success, at least in cash games.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I had Murray tonight, and I still somehow cashed. Well, he did better tonight than he did the night before, but...
Did he?
He had 17 points tonight. Let me see. I have... Where is it? Let me pull it up real quick. I tallied my scores from tonight. I cashed in one line out of 3. Eric Bledsoe absolutely killed my lineups, man.
Yeah, he almost brought me out of cashing tonight. I was holding on by a thread there at the end when I went into the game looking nice.
If Eric Bledsoe does anything, and I had Eric Bledsoe on every one of my lineups. If he does anything, I'm cashing nicely in 2 out of 3 lineups, and I probably hit the cash line in the third. So I turn $50 into probably close to $450 if Eric Bledsoe cash does well. But that's the power of one player.
Yeah, I just played one line in doubles tonight, so it all worked out.
My projections were really, really close minus 2 players tonight that I played, and that was Karl Anthony Towns and Eric Bledsoe. So I had Isaiah Thomas slotted at 44. He hit 46.7. LaMarcus Aldridge at 38. He hit 33.4. Al Horford was not close. He was projected at 39, hit 31. Andrew Wiggins was projected at 35. I think he had 42. He had 42, 43. Brad Beal was projected at 35. He hit 39. Taj Gibson at 25. He hit 19. Kyle Anderson at 17. He hit 23. And then Murray projected at 25 and hit 17. Aaron Gordon projected at 25. He hit 22. So not a bad night for my projections, I should say. I'm happy with that. Keith blew his projection out of the water. He was projected at 30 and hit 40, so, but I'll never complain at that.
Yeah, I was super high on Keith, as I said last night, and I think everything kind of, like you said, went according to plan tonight or last
except
night.
For Bledsoe, man.
Yeah, and Cat, but they didn't kill your lineups if you got the right in like Powell. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Eric. Taking down, or not taking down, but getting in the top 10 of that GPP. That's why we do this, man.
JC just said his system crashed. That's not good. What's up, Darcy? What's up, everybody?
Yeah, thanks for being here, guys. It's awesome. We were talking before the show what we thought the live view number was going to be. This is great.
We're up to 21. That's pretty good. So, real quick, someone just mentioned Curry back in Charlotte. How has he played there in recent games? I believe he averages 46 points a game in Charlotte. Fantasy points.
They just retired his jersey his high school jersey,
Yep.
And they named the gym after him. So that's pretty cool.
I don't know why.
His dad is also a play-by-play guy for the Hornets.
Well, he played for the Hornets, so yeah.
I'm just saying he's going to be there, courtside.
You think he shows up to the game tomorrow?
I don't buy the narrative, but it's obviously worth considering.
All right, well, let's start. Let's break into this massive 10-game slate. We'll probably be on the air till fucking 6 in the morning time. Yeah. Someone asked, can I explain what I base my player projection off of? My player projection is heavy on DVP. I'll tell you that much. It is very much indicative of a DVP. So the matchup plays a huge role into whether a player is projected to score higher or lower than their average. And then usage plays a semi-significant role. It's not as high. I don't weigh it as high as my DVP. I also factor in pace of play, and I factor in, obviously, minutes. So the amount of minutes they play is a huge... Minutes is the number one weight. So obviously the more minutes a player gets, the higher their projection. And then it goes DVP, pace of play, and usage. So
all the factors that we all consider anyway, so... And they proved well tonight.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's definitely... I'm hoping that they get back on track. I know that they've been off for the past week or so, but I think the past week has been kind of crazy, so I don't know how much stock you can put into that. But the past week has just been kind of crazy for NBA with all the value that opened up and throwing off lineups and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a computer-based algorithm, so you have to factor in what you know and what you trust as well.
Exactly. So that's why I always say use the optimals as a tool. Don't expect the optimals to win a GPP for you every night. I don't even know if you can expect them to win a GPP because they don't factor in. There's no way for me to project and to have my system project a value play going off. There's no way for me to project a Nerlens Noel going off. There's no way for me to project a Norman Powell going off. There's no way for me to project a Maurice Spates going off the other night. So it would look really foolish for me to sit there and say Maurice Spates is going to hit 35 points. You know what I mean? Like when he hasn't done it all year. So
yeah, use your brain when you're thinking about entering into these large GPP tournaments. You have to think, okay, so I need my value plays to go 8 to 10x like Nerlens Noel does. You know, are the value plays that I am looking at, can they possibly do that?
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to add this tool in for you guys as well. By the way, I think we've solved pretty much the problem for Mac users. And it's worked for 3 different people. Basically, if you don't have Excel 16 on your Mac, then the optimizer won't work. I guess there was an update in Excel 16 that allows you to run macros. I guess the previous versions don't allow it. So that's the reason for Mac users not being able to do it. It's as simple as upgrading Excel. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you to do that only because ideally in the next month or 2 we'll have a website up and you won't have a use for Excel. So if you decide to spend that money, that's 100% up to you, but I'm not going to advocate or tell you need to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Excel has other uses. You can learn money management. You could also balance your grocery list.
This is true.
So that's up to you.
Yeah. But I'm adding in a cash, and so obviously the optimizer is based on projections. I'm going to give you an option to run one off of ceiling and off of floor. So obviously when you have a high ceiling, you're going to look at a GPP. When you have a high floor, you're looking at cash. So basically it'll separate cash and GPP plays. Would it be a good idea?
I just want to address this question. So I think it's a good idea to follow the injury news and to know who is going to get the minutes if somebody's ruled out, and to have those players in mind. But you can't really consider your value plays until, I don't know, what would you say, like 30 to 15 minutes before lock.
Exactly.
You really can't. You can't just like say, this is my value play, this is what I'm going with, because if something else opens up and now you have a player that can possibly score a point per minute getting close to 30 minutes, I think it's warranted, especially on DraftKings, to have your value type of player in your utility spot so that if a better value play opens up, you can easily pivot to whatever position that is. So try and create your rosters with that in mind, so it's easier to pivot.
That's a great point. That makes sense. All right, so let's look here, Mike. Point guards tomorrow. Atlanta at Chicago. Are we looking at Schroeder or Jerian Grant is going to get the start? He played 20 minutes tonight. I think I'm going to stay away from the entire Chicago backcourt situation as usual.
Yeah, like I said last night, it's obvious that they are preferring their front court, their wings as more of the 6 men on this team, and Butler and Wade are bringing the ball up, and they don't really have a need for a point guard.
Are we looking at Schroeder against Grant? I mean, I don't think Grant's a great defender.
No, I don't think I am. I think I'd rather pay up a little bit more for someone in a better spot.
Agree with that. I'm not looking at Schroeder tomorrow. Kemba and Steph. Kemba is not hitting value at all recently. I don't think I can roster him right now. Even in a plus matchup, Steph definitely gets consideration. He's had a pretty hot week. Like you said, he's pretty much established a great floor of around 40 points. So, and the narrative is obviously there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think both these guys are in the player pool to me. Obviously, it's a high point total. Golden State lost a heartbreaker in Miami, courtesy of Dion Waiters. And
for what it's worth, Dion Waiters was the best player on the court.
He had the highest usage, and he could pretty much do whatever he wants. And I could see Kemba Walker having high usage again, and When Kemba's on, he's hard to stop. So it's just you're betting on whether or not he's going to be on tomorrow.
Houston, Boston, a very stackable game. Isaiah Thomas, dare I call him matchup proof?
I think you might be able to at this point.
I mean, it's in Boston, so I know Washington and Boston aren't very far apart, so the traveling doesn't concern me. I know it's a back-to-back for Boston, but...
No, traveling doesn't concern me either. I mean, obviously I like to target teams going up against Houston. This projects to be a close game as well. It's got a 2.5 point spread, 230 point total, which is by far the highest of the night. Boston, Isaiah is their primary threat.
You know who I can see having a really good game from this? And it's not Isaiah. Marcus Smart.
I don't know. I don't know what happens with Smart after they kicked him off the court tonight. I'm afraid that he's somewhat limited or doesn't get to play.
See, I think the opposite. I think he comes out fired up, 1, and 2, he's going to be getting James Harden defense.
Right, but it might not be up to him. It might be the coaching staff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I feel like they're going to put that past him, and I think tonight that's settled. It's definitely a GPP play only, but I can see Smart having a nice game tomorrow.
I think I'd rather play Beverly. Than Smart tomorrow. He's just to me seem more like the safer player.
Beverly has, I will say Beverly has done a great job in good matchups this year.
And then the whole thing with Beverly on Thomas, do you buy that or?
I'll still play Thomas. Thomas is not my first choice tomorrow, but I have no issue with playing Thomas against Beverly. Beverly's a good defender, but Isaiah Thomas, like I said, to me, is matchup proof at the point guard position. Right,
but is it enough of a question mark to have you look at somebody else since it's such a
yes.
Big slate, maybe at a shorter slate.
Yes, I'm looking at other point guards.
Yeah, that's to me too. Like, I like Thomas's spot. I like the game. I like the point total. It's just there's other guys I like a lot more that don't have Patrick Beverly on them.
I won't be rostering Isaiah Thomas, most likely.
Same.
LA and Portland, another great match, another juicy matchup. I'm going to go Portland here and go Dame Lillard. That's my...
I think I like Dame more than Isaiah Thomas tomorrow. I think...
$100 less. Or $1,000 less, I'm sorry.
The point total is somewhat similar. It's a 220 point total, and without D'Angelo Russell, I like the spot that he is in.
I liked it even with Russell, but yeah.
The only concern I have in this game is a potential blowout.
I don't think Portland is good enough on defense to have it be a blowout.
Right, but I don't know that this comes down to like the final possession, like we said last night. Yeah. I like Dame a lot more, knowing the fact that this is going to be a close game down the stretch, and I don't know if I can confidently say that it will be.
That's a fair point. I still like Dame tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. He's definitely one of my top 5 at the position.
Another juicy matchup for point guards is Goran Dragic against Brooklyn. I love this matchup, and only at $7,000.
The only thing that cautions me with Dragic is that he is obviously deferred to Waiters in the last 2 games. I think Waiters' usage percentage has been close to 35%. I watched that last game against Golden State. He was bringing the ball up half the game, and that's what cautions me. When Waiters is hot, it just seems like they just kind of feed him, and Dragic doesn't really pay up to his price tag.
It's a fair assessment. I just think, I don't know, the matchup is too good for his price.
It is. It's a great matchup, and I made this mistake with Holiday, or was it Holiday? Yeah, I think a couple games back I made this mistake saying, I don't know about Holiday for his price.
Yeah.
He's got a great matchup on the slate, and I didn't play him, and he did all right.
Yeah, I think I have to go with Dragic tomorrow. Dragic's in a good spot. New York and Dallas. Are you looking at Darren Williams? I'm not looking at Derrick Rose at all, but are you looking at Darren Williams?
I am not looking at either. I think you pick your spots in this game just because of the low point total, and I don't think that's where I'm going.
Okay. We talk about point guards against Russell Westbrook. Obviously, Russell Westbrook's in an amazing spot tomorrow against New Orleans. But Drew Holiday, I think, deserves some consideration at least.
He's got to. I mean, he jumped in salary a little too high on DraftKings. He's 7,700, kind of taking him out of play because he's the same price as Kemba Walker. And I don't know if I could trust him to go 40 plus again. But he's proven his ceiling now. We know what he can do, and I think we were all kind of waiting for that game going forward.
How comfortable are you playing Westbrook on this big of a slate with the other point guards available?
So I'm kind of still toying with this idea that I want my studs to be in a really close game down the stretch. Mm-hmm. And I think I like what the Houston-Boston game projects in Boston for James Harden over what I think goes on with OKC and New Orleans. Like I could really see this Houston-Boston game in Boston
going down
with
to the
Boston
wire.
On a back-to-back going down to the wire. And if that happens, I like Harden more.
It's fair. I can agree with that. Delhi, he is playing Philadelphia. He's starting, and he has a bobblehead night tomorrow. Does that narrative?
Delhi does?
Delhi has a bobblehead night tomorrow. Does that narrative work with Delhi?
I don't know, but we should keep track of this stuff, man. I think we would be one of the few places in the DFS world that keeps track of thin narratives like this.
Yeah. I'm just saying. The narratives.
Go ahead.
The narratives have. They've missed sometimes, but they've obviously hit a couple times. We've seen that.
Yeah, we should include in our database all of the promotions over all of the NBA teams. Someone has a Westbrook and Harden stack. It is possible on FanDuel. I already made one. I kind of like.
Okay, I'm not gonna do it, but I can see it.
No, but if they both go off tomorrow, you're gonna cash.
Are they gonna cash?
I think you can with the value. Like I said, if I built the lineup
you have to hit value.
You have to hit with your value plays.
Yeah. Okay, my other favorite point guard, I really like my I have 4 on the slate that I really like, and they're all pretty mid-range. Dame at 83, Kyrie at 85, Mike Conley at 76, and Goran Dragic at 7. Those 4 point guards, I'm going to pick 2 from there. So I really like Kyrie against Sacramento.
Yeah, my top 5 for point guards, just eliminating the studs. Like if you eliminate 10K and above, obviously we like those guys. But my top 5 were Kyrie, Conley, Lillard, Beverly, Kemba.
Okay. So we're on the same page with 3 of them.
Yeah, and so mine are all my research goes off of DraftKings prices as well, so that could factor in to my decisions over yours.
Yeah. That makes sense. I can't trust the Ty Lawson, Darren Collison situation enough to roster against Kyrie's bad defense, but it's bad.
It's not a short enough slate to burden myself with that dilemma.
I agree. And then obviously Mike Conley against Toronto. We know that Kyle Lowry defense is not good defense. So to me, Mike Conley's in play.
Yeah, so Toronto's coming to the grindhouse without DeRozan. That to me tells me that Memphis is going to win this game. The point total is at 200, but in their last 5 games, the last 5 games in the grindhouse have all totaled over 200.
Okay, it's an interesting.
So perhaps if Toronto could keep it close, obviously I think Mike Conley has got a good spot. He's 7,200 on DraftKings, which is nice.
And then are you looking at Lowry or no?
No, I was curious to see what Lowry was going to do today without DeRozan. Obviously
he
with the
wouldn't have value.
Spurs, but I don't think it's against the Grizzlies in the grindhouse. I don't know if I'm going to play anybody on Toronto tomorrow.
I knew that Lowry just hasn't hit value recently. I didn't see him hitting it against the Spurs. Faded him completely today. Ironically, he was in the winning lineup, but his value was terrible.
Price on FanDuel, his price relative to Thomas and Wall was enough to get, I guess, another stud in somewhere else.
Yeah, but man,
you got this. Come on.
I've been up for 24 hours right now. I went to sleep yesterday at 2.
You went to CVS yesterday / today?
Sleep yesterday at 2 o'clock, and I woke up at 4 for work.
I thought you said CVS.
Oh, man.
No, I've been grinding, man. I've been watching a lot of hoops and doing my thing. So.
Yeah, definitely Yon City, man. I'm toughing the show out. I had to recover all these sheets today. Unfortunately, I had just about finished the sheets, and they crashed. My whole computer, I had to restart my whole computer, and then I had to redo them all. That was fun.
So I think we could say that shooting guard is the slimmest position on the slate, in my opinion.
Yes.
Out of all the positions. So when I see that, I almost immediately think this is where I want to go for value. What about you?
I like that, and I can go. I can pay down at center tomorrow as well.
Me too. I think I did in that one lineup. So in that lineup I made with Westbrook and Harden, I actually got Kyrie in there as well.
Okay. And
I did that by paying down at center and some other spots.
I don't like Dwayne Wade on a back-to-back.
Yeah, I'm not even convinced he's going to play. It's a road back-to-back as well. However, his price went down to 6,400 on DraftKings, and I mean, he's got increased usage, like I said, with them not playing as much point guard, and I think there's definitely an argument there. I like Klay Thompson better.
Okay, what about Nick Batum against Klay Thompson?
So with no Cody Zeller is questionable.
I was going to say he's not out yet, but
he's not officially ruled out. But I think from what I've been reading, it seems that it's going to go that way. And Frank Kaminsky broke his nose, and so we might see him wear a mask, or he's also listed as questionable as well. If both of those guys don't play in this match with the Spurs, what are your thoughts on him?
Oh, good old Skype. Gotta fucking love Skype, man. Can't stand this shit, man. Oh, I hate Skype, Mike. I hate Skype.
Kick me off the show.
I can't stand Skype, man. Anyways.
How far did you get?
I got to something about San Antonio.
San Antonio? Oh, boy. No, I was talking about Batum.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how I heard San Antonio, but anyways, continue.
No, I was saying, what are your thoughts against the Warriors if Zeller and Kaminsky are out, with them shifting Batum to the small forward?
That's what I heard. Who would start at shooting guard? Bellinelli?
Lamb was upgraded from doubtful to questionable, so perhaps him or Bellinelli.
I could see Batum at the small forward. I don't know how much I like it, though.
And then MKG at the 4. I mean, they might have to do that, is what I'm trying to say, in this matchup.
Yeah.
With them already slim in the front court.
I don't think you can play. I don't think the Hornets can play Roy Hibbert.
No, they're going to take Golden State's going to take Roy Hibbert off the floor, man. They're going to have to play Spencer Hawes is the only guy that's going to keep up, and even then is kind of scary.
So James Harden obviously is in play. Eric Gordon is also in play for me. This price is a little more reasonable now. It's down to 5,700.
He's been a little bit up and down recently. But yeah, his price is decent. It's fair.
57, yeah, that's doable for me. I love Lou Williams again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I love Lou
His price
Williams.
is up too, though.
It's down, but it was 6,100 last time, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, like I said, it's up, and to me that was up still too high.
I can do 57, though. That's very doable for what Lou can put up, especially as the main beneficiary of all this injuries on LA. I mean, his minutes, he scores the most points. He averages the most points on the Lakers, and his minutes only increase without Russell, so.
Oh, yeah, his minutes are up, his usage is up, but when you're thinking like a cash, I don't know if I cash him. I think I'd rather cash Oladipo at that price.
No, I'd rather go Lou.
I think Lou is a better tournament play.
I feel safer with Lou, actually, than Oladipo. Lou just seems like money to me right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, his shots got to fall for him to get there. So.
Okay, what about McCollum? I'd rather play Dame than McCollum tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page there.
Dion Waiters at 6,000. His price is climbing, and Dion Waiters is an extremely streaky player. Does he keep it up tomorrow?
He's lights out right now. He's in a prime matchup to keep it up. I think, again, I don't know if I cash Waiters, but I think he's a solid tournament play. And I think Kilpatrick's a solid tournament play as well. I think you could perhaps even, I don't know. He's been getting 30 minutes, I think, last two.
I don't know how much I can trust Waiters tomorrow.
I don't think you can trust him, but I think he's a solid tournament play. If he keeps it up, I mean, the last two games he's averaging like 65% from the field. So obviously
he's gonna get the minutes.
He's definitely gonna get the minutes, but can he continue to shoot 65% from the field? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
You know who I like as a punt tomorrow, and I don't know how many people will be on him. Seth Curry playing shooting guard against New York.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said at the top, if you're playing tournaments, you want your value plays to go close to 8 or 10 times value. And Seth Curry, to me, more projects as like a guy that we've seen get 30 minutes, but hit value barely. You know what I mean? I feel like Kilpatrick's got the upside for the same price.
Okay, what about Wes Matthews against Carmelo?
So,
it's only 53. Wes he's been doing okay.
I think he is listed on the injury report. He did leave the Lakers game with a hip strain. He's questionable. I think he probably plays. Let's just assume he plays.
Mm-hmm.
He's priced fair, and he's in a good matchup, like you said.
Courtney Lee, I can't trust that situation still. Go ahead, sorry.
I don't know what's going on there again.
Okay, what about Oladipo? You said you like him. I don't know. I don't know how much I like Oladipo tomorrow.
I like Oladipo just because, in comparison to the other guys, I feel like he has the safest floor. And better the other guys in that price range at shooting guard. As far as Eric Gordon, as far as who else did we just mention?
I like Lou more.
Dion Waiters, Lou Williams. I think Victor Oladipo provides the safest floor out of those guys.
Can't say I agree with you, Mike. I'm gonna have to go Lou on this one.
You don't think Oladipo has a safer floor?
Negative. I think Lou right now with this situation has a safer floor. Lou literally has to not be able to make a shot to not have a safe floor tomorrow. I just feel like he's the ultimate beneficiary of that situation in LA right now. Runs the second team, gets all the shots.
I'm not saying I don't like the play. I'm just saying when you're evaluating it from a cash game perspective, I like Oladipo, but if I'm playing in tournaments, I'd much rather play Lou Williams or even Klay Thompson. I think those two guys come into my mind as the prime tournament shooting guards on this slate.
I could look at Klay as well. I can get behind that. Giannis, I have him projected around 50 points tomorrow, which is right around 5 times value.
Yeah, Philly allows the second most fast break points to their opposition. So that to me screams plus for Giannis.
Yeah.
But
I think Giannis is... So he's going to be lower owned. I think people are going to be on James Harden, and a lot of people are going to be on Westbrook. I think Giannis could be a good play that's contrarian.
I think it's a nice pivot. I really do think it's a nice pivot. But when I'm looking at which studs I want to play, I think I take everything into consideration, and there's obviously pluses and minuses to that matchup. I think the fact that the game is the highest spread on the night is a significant negative. And if you look at what he did against Philly, it doesn't really get to where you want him to get. And I think there's also positives and negatives for Harden. So if, like I'm saying, is that you got to really evaluate all these studs to decide which one you want the most.
Staying away from the Philly shooting guard situation, Iman Shumpert, Kyle Korver, you can pick your poison there.
I didn't look at any of that.
Garrett Temple could be in play against both their defenses.
Could be. I didn't look at that either.
And then Tony Allen with no DeRozan, possibility. Just some value plays right there. I'm not going to advocate for any of them.
Yeah, we talked about, obviously Powell went off, and Ross had a nice game today too, but this game is in the grindhouse. Memphis is the best team at defending points in the paint, and they're the third best team in the NBA defending three-point shots. So
I'm going to have to roll with Terrence Ross tomorrow. I don't think Chandler Parsons or James Ennis keeps up with Terrence Ross, depending on who starts for Memphis.
I'm just putting the stats out there. I think I see Terrence Ross as a high volume shooter off the bench. To me, that's what he looks like to me. So that's why I was just saying, the fact that Memphis is number 3 team in the league at defending the 3-point shot. There's that to consider as to why I perhaps fade Ross.
I don't know, man. Part of me, I like Ross more than Powell tomorrow, and I think Powell will be the chalk play out of the two.
I think I like Ross more than Powell too, but I don't think I'm playing either. I think I'd rather go up and pay for Kilpatrick.
Yeah. Okay. Bazemore against Chicago? Yes. No.
No.
Okay. Jimmy Butler against Atlanta.
See, that to me is a little bit more intriguing than Bazemore.
He's down at 9,500. You could even go or you can even go Butler if you want to kind of more balanced lineup and you want to fade the 3 high price guys.
Yeah, for some reason on DraftKings, they dropped Kevin Durant's price from $10,000 to $9,400, and he's only $200 more than Jimmy Butler. So I don't know how Kevin Durant. I don't know how I stomach playing for Butler over Durant for the same price, Whereas on FanDuel, it's, the difference is a lot more. $1,300.
Yeah. No, not 13. 800.
Oh, my screen's blurry. I thought it was 9K.
You're good. I like Durant tomorrow, though.
I like Durant a lot on DraftKings for 9,400.
Yeah, that's crazy low.
That's a steal, man. I don't know what happened there. He is kind of coming off somewhat of a buff. He's been somewhat inconsistent on this road trip as far as his three-point shot. He's not been shooting it well, but I mean, this guy's been the model of consistency all year. I don't buy that he's in a slump.
I'm going. Out of all Golden State players, even with Curry going back, I'm rolling with Durant.
Absolutely. Definitely on DraftKings.
Jay Crowder or Trevor Ariza, who would you roll with?
If I had to pick, man, I think you have to throw Covington in that mix too. They're all the same price.
I guess I'm just asking, out of that game, who would you go?
Out of that game, I go Ariza. Yeah.
I would go Ariza.
But I think I like Covington more than those two.
I agree with that. I just think Jay Crowder's defense has not been great this year. Jay Crowder has not been the defensive player he was in the past.
Yeah, I didn't really dive into that matchup, so I don't know. I don't have any stats to back that up. I just think I think Ariza.
Dang and Ingram. There's a possibility Brandon Ingram starts at point guard.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I read after that last game, and they lost by 41 points, I think it was.
Yeah.
Luke Walton said to the media, I think we might reevaluate, him starting for Russell. So.
Did Russell play in that game?
No, he started for Russell at point guard, and they lost by 41. So I think there's obviously going to be some sort of reevaluating going on.
I didn't realize Ingram started the last game. I didn't watch that game.
Yeah, he did. And Dang played and then got, I guess, hurt in practice, but he's on track to play.
See, I think I could play Ingram tomorrow at small forward if he starts at point guard against Dame Lillard.
Yeah, he's a little bit nicer on FanDuel at 4,400. He's 48 on DraftKings, and
damn,
who else are they going to start on at point guard? Calderon. I guess they can start Clarkson maybe, but they like Clarkson running the second team.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you start Ingram, which I like. I can roll with that. Evan Turner, Mo Harkless. I would roll Evan Turner in this game.
So yeah, Evan Turner started the last two games over Mo Harkless. Mo Harkless has averaged under 20 minutes the last two games, and Evan Turner has had significant minutes actually. It's kind of skewed because the last game in Boston was an overtime game, but still, I mean, the fact that he's starting in this matchup with, I guess, Luol Deng, something to look at.
Okay, I'm gonna ask. You're the Nets fan here. Where is the value coming from for this Nets small forward?
I have no idea. I have no idea. The only thing I can say is that if LeVert somehow starts tomorrow, because they started Randy Foye at shooting guard when Joe Harris and LeVert were both out. So LeVert's going to play next game. If he starts at shooting guard, go there.
Okay.
Otherwise, just avoid it. Seriously. There's other ways you can go.
It's so unpredictable right now. Harrison, is that in play against New York?
I've been off Barnes since Dirk came back. And
Yeah.
he really hasn't done much, so I'm going to stay off of him.
Agree with that. Melo against whether it be Wes Matthews or Harrison Barnes, depending on where he plays. I mean, I could see that, but I just don't think. I don't think I really like that game too much. I think Dallas can control that game.
What would you say if Melo was $800 cheaper?
7,200? Yeah, that's more doable for me.
Well, yeah, that's where he's at on DraftKings. So to me, that kind of puts him in play. I mean, he's averaging 35 points on the season, and as of late, he's been playing pretty well. He's actually shooting the ball higher than 50% from the field in 5 of his last 7 games, which is kind of crazy when you're talking about Melo. And he's been not a very efficient scorer his whole career. He's also averaging over 40 DraftKings points in his last 7 games. So at 7,200, I think he's even in consideration in cash.
Wow. In consideration in cash. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we going to touch Solomon Hill, Andre Roberson?
Far, far away.
I'm going to stay away.
As far away as I can go.
Yeah, you mentioned Robert Covington. We talk about targeting Milwaukee at small forward. I love Cov tomorrow.
Yeah, and I meant to dive into the stats with what Covington does without Embiid, but I never got to do that today. And I don't know, for some reason I just feel like Covington without Embiid is a solid play.
Let me see if I can look it up. Robert Covington game log without Joel.
There's definitely a large sample size, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
He sat out enough games this year.
I don't know how accurate this is, but take it for what it's worth. Without Embiid, the last couple games, it hasn't blown anything away. Obviously, today, 14 points, 8 rebounds. Against Atlanta, 15 points, 10 rebounds. That's a good game. Against Washington, 7 points, 4 rebounds. Against Utah, 1.7 rebounds. He had a couple good games before that against Detroit and Toronto, 16-7 and 20-5.
I mean, what I'm kind of hearing is that his rebounding numbers are somewhat elevated, which would make sense. But I mean, it's against Tony Snell, you know. I mean, I guess Giannis would probably guard him. What do you think?
McConnell, you put Delly on McConnell. Actually, yeah.
I imagine they're going to put Giannis on Covington. I think you're going to see Parker on Ilyasova.
Mm-hmm. Is Giannis a good defender, though? He fouls a lot. I don't think Giannis is a great defender. I mean, I can't sit here and give you a true testimony, but I don't think Giannis is a great defender.
No, but then I think about the other side of the matchup. Do you think Covington is going to be on Giannis? And if that's the case, then perhaps that spells his offensive game.
That does make me think a little more.
Gotta think.
Yeah. My favorite small forward play tomorrow is LeBron James, and I think LeBron is going to come out pissed, and he's going to put on a show. He's in Cleveland. My only concern is a blowout. I don't think this game is close at all.
It's in a good matchup for sure. I mean, and he's obviously pissed. He just ripped his whole franchise a new one in the media, which is kind of ridiculous in my opinion, but
dude, all he's asking for is a backup point guard. I mean, can you really go into the playoffs? And here's the thing. LeBron isn't about winning the East. He's got that locked up. Imagine Kay Felder, 5'6", 5'8", whatever he is, going up against either Curry or Sean Livingston. I mean, is that realistic? I think he's perfectly valid and needing a backup point guard.
yeah, I mean, there's 100 different ways that people took these comments, so I'm not going to really dive into it. But as far as with him tomorrow, obviously he's got something to prove. He, like you said, he's back at home. His price has jumped, and he has played significant minutes in the past 2 that have caused his price to jump. So you have to, I think, in order for him to pay off that price tag, he has to play 35 plus minutes tomorrow. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So from that perspective, again, on DraftKings where Kevin Durant is 9,400, it's hard to look past it, man.
I still go LeBron.
I think they're both in similar spots, and Durant's just cheaper.
And then obviously we like Terrence Ross, or I do at least. You're kind of not as on Terrence Ross.
No, I think I'm going to try and find a better value play. I think it's cool if you want to build your lineups with him in it, but again, keep in mind, when something opens up, you don't have to stick with it.
Yeah. Okay. Power forward Paul Millsap against Taj Gibson. I like that matchup.
Yeah, he's coming off a good game. These two teams played recently, and no one really went off. But yeah, like you said, from the matchup perspective, it makes sense.
If Kaminsky and Zeller don't play, does that put Marvin Williams in almost he's forced to play kind of matchup?
He's probably going to play more minutes, but he's also got the Warriors to deal with. And at 5,000, I think I'm not going to go there.
Okay, what about Draymond? He's down to 7,700 on FanDuel.
I think I like Jabari more than Draymond, but I think I like Draymond too. I think they're both good spots.
Amir Johnson, I'm not touching that right now. I think he had like 6 minutes today.
Really?
Yeah, he got benched in the second half and barely played. Jaylen Brown came out and started the second half, which I'm okay with. Jaylen Brown has superstar potential.
He's going to be good, man. He once he puts some size on him and learns that swingman game, he definitely got the potential.
That was a really, really good pick. I wanted Buddy Hield, but I'm okay with Jaylen Brown. I think that dude has potential for sure.
If everything goes like it's looking and they get Lonzo Ball, that's going to be one heck of a second team. Who knows? They're going to have some plethora of swingmen.
We have so many guards right now, though.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to fit in, but they have to take him, man.
Ryan Anderson against Boston? Yes, no?
Maybe so. I don't know, man. He doesn't do enough in the peripherals for me to trust it.
You have to count on him balling out, or shooting lights out, I should say.
Yep, so he's a tournament play for sure in a close game, high point total.
Julius Randle against Portland?
No, I think I like some other guys better.
I would rather go Aminu actually in this. Aminu had a good game last time they played.
They did, but like I said, they're switching things up. But Terry Stotts is trying to get something changing because they had a rough road trip, and with Davis out, we saw Vonleh start at the 4 a couple of times on this road trip, and that put Aminu in a bench role. And then we saw Aminu in a bench role get more minutes than he normally gets starting. So there's been a bit of a shakeup.
Actually,
so it's not like his role is defined as it was.
I kind of like Vonleh too if he starts.
He started and only played 18 minutes though, so it's like.
Yeah, it's hard to gauge. That situation is kind of tough right now.
Exactly, and again, I don't see this game staying close.
You know who I really like is James Johnson though.
I can get on board with James Johnson playing the Nets.
Running the second team. His usage has been up. I love James Johnson against the Nets tomorrow.
I agree.
Trevor Booker?
Trevor Booker is down to 4,800 on DraftKings, kind of putting him in play quite a bit.
Who starts at the 4 for the Heat?
James Johnson. No, he doesn't start, but he plays the majority of minutes at the 4. He plays over 30 minutes. I think Babbitt starts.
I like that, though, for Booker.
I like that, too. With Lopez on Whiteside and the fact that he doesn't rebound at all anyway, I think you see an increase in rebounding numbers.
Yeah.
His days of 30-plus minutes is kind of over unless Brook Lopez sits. And
yeah, just because of the wing situation, I think.
Yeah, the Nets are on a stretch where they play 4 games in 6 nights. This is the 3rd game. And they've rested Booker one. They rested Hamilton the next. So, we could see him sit this game. But if they do that, who the heck do they put on Whiteside. I think if Lopez sits, you got to look at Quincy Acey just because he's a body.
That's true. He's playing for a contract too.
They're gonna need to put somebody on Whiteside.
Okay, what about Dirk against this New York center situation?
So I haven't touched on this yet, but I know that Jeff Hornacek wants to go small. That's why we've seen some extra run for Hernan Gomez. They like how he projects as like a stretch 5. Eventually, they want to put KP6 there, but
I like Hernan Gomez actually. I think he has some potential.
I think he does too as a stretch 5. But I think eventually they want to put Porzingis at the 5 and then have Hernan Gomez back him up. But last game we saw them split minutes. They both played right around 24 minutes. So I don't know if that. I don't know how that.
It's hard to predict. It's really hard to predict. But I like Dirk regardless of who he plays. Dirk's been consistent recently, and his price has dropped.
Yeah, Dirk is definitely in my player pool. Top 3 or 4 power forward on this slate.
Anthony Davis, no thank you. I'm not risking that.
I will say about Davis, the Thunder actually give up the most points to opponents in the paint. It was a surprising stat to me.
I can see that. They're terrible against power forwards, even though the numbers don't necessarily show that.
Yeah, they give up the most points in the paint to their opposition on the entire NBA.
I love if Anthony Davis doesn't play, Terrence Jones has to be in play, of course, going up against OKC. And then I love Enes Kanter again tomorrow night.
Yeah, me too. He's super cheap on DraftKings at 5,400. Definitely a tournament play. Definitely can be considered in cash.
I love Kanter tomorrow. I can start a lineup with Kanter.
Again, you need him to get 24 plus minutes.
I think he can do that though. I don't see any reason why he shouldn't earn that based on his playing, what he's done.
Yeah, but it's impossible to trust.
That's fair.
It's impossible to trust.
His upside is just so good.
It is, and I don't know. The fact that he could possibly only play 20 minutes tomorrow, like it could possibly happen. I don't think you can cash him.
I'm cashing him.
It's risky. That's what I'm saying.
It is. That's fair. Jabari, we obviously both like going up against Ilyasova.
Yeah, again, he's another guy. This is like a theme. The DraftKings prices are just much cheaper today. Jabari is only 7,200 on DraftKings. 7,900. I don't know if I go there. I guess he can on FanDuel too. He's got a great matchup against Ilyasova and played well last game.
Okay, what about Ilyasova against Parker?
See, that I'm not as high on.
I think that's a pure GPP play. Oh, I lost Mike. Let me see if I can get that back. Told you guys Skype is a piece of shit. Gotta love Skype, Mike.
Almost made it.
Kevin Love definitely in play tomorrow. Can you hear me? You there?
You there?
Yeah. Kevin Love definitely in play tomorrow. Oh, I guess Mike can't hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's much better. We're good.
All right. I like Kevin Love tomorrow.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. Again, I always tend to move away from the front court playing boogie.
I could see a full stack tomorrow for Cleveland though. I mean, that big
Yeah,
three never really disappoints.
definitely agree.
And then Zach Randolph is in a really, really good matchup tomorrow. Toronto's terrible against power forwards, and Zach Randolph in 25 minutes can put up 35 points.
See, to me, on DraftKings, with Gasol's price being what it is, like he's probably one of my favorite center play. So I don't think I could play both Randolph and Gasol. But from a pure matchup standpoint, I don't know who they're going to have to put on Randolph. Now, there's caution. I think that Patrick Patterson rests today.
I can see that.
Just because he's coming back from injury. They didn't start him either. They kind of went with a three-headed monster that I think Nogueira got most of the minutes.
If they start Nogueira and bring Sellinger off the bench, that's a great matchup for Randolph.
What? I agree, but actually, I think Nogueira's his size. I would rather see Randolph on Patterson than Randolph on Bebe.
That's what I'm saying.
A big dude.
That's why I'm saying if Nogueira starts, Sellinger is a good matchup for Zebo or Patterson, whoever it is.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. But I think eventually they want, because Sellinger started today. I think eventually they want Sellinger to start at power forward. So they might be trying to solidify those teams playing and eventually start to get more, continue to start Sellinger and eventually bring his minutes up. You know what I mean? And just keep Patterson coming off the bench.
That's a good. I think that's a preferred rotation.
Yeah, so even though Patterson or Nogueira get more minutes, I think they still continue to try and start Sellinger, even though he plays less than 20 minutes.
If Cody Zeller plays tomorrow, I like him.
I think so too. I mean, I kind of hope he doesn't, honestly, because I like what Spencer Hawes could possibly do for that price.
I hope Zeller plays. If Zeller plays, I think I have to lock him in a GPP.
I think whoever starts between Zeller and Hawes is going to score anywhere between 22 and 30 FanDuel points tomorrow.
I can see that.
And that's why I'd rather it be Hawes, because he's cheaper.
That's fair. Do you like Howard against Chicago?
Somewhat. But I think I like other plays better.
Agree with that. Zaza has been absolutely destroying value, and Charlotte's been terrible against centers. Is he in play?
He's in play. I mean, he's definitely a safe guy to return value for sure. He's even cheaper on DraftKings. He's only $39.
This is another one that some of the early optimals returned as well again is Al Horford. And Houston hasn't been great against centers, so I can see the matchup there, especially with the high pace.
Yeah, Marc Gasol just lit up Houston. Like 30 plus real life points. I think it's a sneaky play. He's in a good spot. It's a game I'm targeting tomorrow, so I could get on board with that.
Yeah, I kind of like Horford tomorrow.
What about Plumlee?
I love Plumlee tomorrow.
I think I like Plumlee a lot too. I think tomorrow my three favorite center plays are. I'll go four. I would say Gasol, Plumlee, Whiteside, Cantor.
I guess my only concern with Plumlee is his minutes. If he's gonna get same with Cantor, right? Are they going to give him his run? Al Horford, is going to get his run in, and he's going to get his shots.
If it's any consolation, Ed Davis is doubtful tomorrow, and without Davis, who's the primary backup for Plumlee, he's averaged an extra 4 minutes per game.
Without Davis?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that could factor in.
So you're obviously targeting Whiteside on this Lopez Whiteside law?
Nah, Not on FanDuel, man. It's too expensive for me. But he's only 7,900 on DraftKings.
Whiteside's only 7,900.
So, and even that to me is somewhat overpriced. I was looking into him because that to me is a big decision tomorrow, whether I'm going to go Gasol at 75 or Whiteside at 79 on DraftKings.
Yeah.
So I'm looking into him, and he's only had scored 20 plus points, real life points, in one of the last 11 games. In the previous 11 games, he scored 20 plus points 7 times. And his rebounding numbers haven't really fallen off. It just seems to me like they're doing something
elsewhere.
Different. Yeah, like they're just deciding that we're not going to feed you the ball anymore, and so he's almost looking to me more of like a low double guy, and his price really hasn't caught up to that just because of what his potential could be. They're just kind of game planning differently, so that's why I'm leaning Gasol.
It's fair. New York center situation, impossible to predict.
We touched on that.
New Orleans, no thank you. Steven Adams is in play against New Orleans.
Yeah, and so he's the guy that has the lower upside, but the minutes are safer. So
yeah, you kind of have to gamble there.
Yeah.
I love Greg Monroe tomorrow.
See, I think I like Henson tomorrow.
I'd rather go Monroe. I think Monroe's a better offensive player, and especially with them bringing Brogdon off the bench, him and Brogdon work really, really well together. So having them come off the bench together, I like.
I mean, I try to make sense of this, but it's next to impossible.
Yeah, you can't with Jason Kidd.
Just hear me out. The last time these two teams played, which was only last week, Henson had played 26 minutes and Monroe played 21. So the fact that they have, Noel and possibly Okafor and possibly Holmes, to me that makes me think that they want to combat him with Henson's size. But again, that's me trying to make sense of something that's impossible to make sense of. So
that's fair. Boogie, absolutely in play tomorrow.
Boogie's always in play.
Especially with no Rudy Gay.
Boogie is always in play to me. I think Cleveland has not really proven that they can stop centers, and Boogie is obviously matchup proof. I mean, who are they going to put on Boogie to stop him tomorrow? And if they're going to keep this game close, he's the guy that's going to get all the usage. So
yeah, no, I agree. I think you could look at Boogie if you want to be contrarian. Although I would prefer, I don't know, what's hard for me is paying up at center when I can pay up at a ball handler.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, there's, 8 guys, 10K and above on this slate, so find a couple value plays you like, find a couple studs you like, and do a lot of research to get those right. Because when you get those 4 plays right, if you get two solid value plays and 2 solid studs like dead on comparatively to the field, that's when you win some money. So do your research.
Lastly, you like Marc Gasol.
I do. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to try and go at center tomorrow. I guess if I were looking on FanDuel, I might try to pay down at center. The fact that he's $1,000 less on DraftKings is much more intriguing. And dude's kind of going off lately.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we just saw LaMarcus Aldridge kind of go off against Toronto today. He's got 25 real life points in each of the last 3. He's got 20 plus points in 7 of the last 10. So
he's hot. I'll give you that.
He's doing it all for this team right now.
I don't know. There's a lot of good plays. Well, I'm going to finish up these spreadsheets for you guys. I'm going to take a little nap, and then I'm going to finish up these spreadsheets. So I'll get them out to you before my early morning.
Yeah, we're working on some new stuff to try and get all of our plays like more locked down, so you guys can kind of just like a Spark Notes version, I guess you could say.
Yeah, so let me kind of pull up right here if you can see my screen. This is what we were talking about in the Facebook group, and I saw this from someone else. Roto Grinders kind of had a similar concept, and so what we were thinking is, with all due respect, I kind of like the idea of having the Phenom community kind of have access, and then basically you just kind of put your name up top here, so Mike, whoever else, and everyone will have access to it, and you're just going to add your name, you're just going to be the next man up, and we're going to have your GPP lock, your cash lock, and just kind of get input from the community. And so you can kind of get a gauge of where everyone else is looking, and then you have your name and initial or last initial. So if you see someone, you can ask, hey, why, Mike, why are you high on this player? So and so, so and so forth. Kyle is a clone, I'm convinced. He really doesn't sleep. I sleep rarely, yeah. And then obviously favorite play over 9K, and then we can, we're still adding to it. This is just preliminary, but we can put favorite point guard, favorite shooting guard, things like that. And then we also want to add an injury tab here. So we have FanDuel DraftKings for that, right? And then we'll have injury, and so it'll be, let's just say Tony Parker, right? So Tony Parker there, and then who benefits if Tony Parker's out? So I would say you could say Patty Mills, right? So obviously there'll be titles and whatnot, so it'll make more sense. But that's the kind of idea. And Mike is working on a social media kind of post similar to what we had before with the triple threat and whatnot. That'll have injury news and things like that. The big one, but this can be for someone that doesn't necessarily have a chance. But if you have the Google Sheets app on your phone, this is live updating, so I don't have to send out an updated sheet. So if you see someone's injured, you can hop right down in here and be like, yo, this player's out. This is who I think benefits. And, so and so forth. So if you just want to hop in real quick and see injury news, you can hop right in here, and I guarantee you out of the 700 people we have in the Facebook group right now, someone will post something about the injury news.
Yeah, people have been on that, and again, we're just trying to streamline your research process, make it a lot easier for everyone, and kind of put everything that we look at in one place, so that you guys can go real easily. And if you don't have time to watch this hour-long video, you can take 10 minutes and kind of get a Spark Notes version of what we're looking at.
Yeah, so obviously, me and Mike will post our favorite plays here and there and whatnot, and then like I said, our GPP lock, our cash lock, favorite play at the price points, things like that, and then we'll that you can just kind of get a foundation of where we're starting.
Yep. So. Continuously evolving. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, buddy. So I'm gonna shore this up later today. I'll probably launch it Friday. Maybe tomorrow, or Thursday, I say tomorrow. Just so we can kind of give me a chance to shore it up and everything. I'm off today, so I will have updated sheets as those come out, things like that. And then if you as you guys have noticed, I have also streamlined the projection, so I have 198 players projected tomorrow. So I have to cut it down to 200. But I think 200 is a plenty big player pool in the slate. And basically, anyone that is... what I basically do is fade anyone that's projected to play under 8 minutes. Anyone that plays 8 minutes or more gets a projection in the player pool. And so you'll see that. But to me, anyone that's projected under 8 minutes doesn't really need a projection, and if you're really high on that person, then my projection's not gonna reflect that anyways. So you're kind of gonna have to go against the grain on that one. But again, trying to get more and more information out to you guys. So, and then Mike also has access to these spreadsheets and the projections. So on days that I'm not able to update, Mike can, and vice versa. We'll make sure we get updated sheets out to you as often as we can until the website is up.
Yeah, you can hit me up on Facebook or Twitter, or send me an email, whatever you want to do. I can try and accommodate you if I'm off and Kyle's in class or working or something like that. Again, we're just trying to make this as easy for you guys, and make this a really important part of your research process.
No, absolutely.
I was gonna shout out the winners if that's cool. I'm trying to make a point of doing that every day. So on DraftKings, the winner of our contest was actually a lot of familiar faces in the top 5. But the winner of the contest was Quadfather7. He is definitely been on top of the leaderboard. He posted a line of 305, so congratulations to you. I'm sure if you played that elsewhere, you also got some money. And then on FanDuel, our winning line was 352.3. Whew.
Wow.
MD_Hansen. So that guy's killing it as well. So keep up the good work, guys, and get your lineups in every day. If you are not sure what I'm talking about, check out our Facebook group, and pinned to the top will be a link to each one of these contests, and you can try and put your best lineup forward and become top phenom.
Absolutely. As you guys see at the top of the video right here, the Fantasy Phenom, that's our business page, our Twitter, our Facebook group. That's the one that we're talking about. A bunch of knowledgeable guys. Fantasy Phenom movement. And all these links are in the description as well. Email, PayPal, and then of course the link for the description, or the link for the sheets is in the description. A couple more days to get on that list before you're out of luck on the grandfathered in price. So make sure you get on that if you are interested in the projections and all that, along with all of the information we provide.
But another thing I wanted to add, what I found out today is that you don't get the notifications when I go live before lock if you simply like the business page. You have to click follow.
Got you. Okay.
I don't know what that is, but people aren't getting the notifications because if you just like the page, you're not going to get it. You have to actually click follow.
Okay, that makes sense. So good looking out there. So if you're watching this, make sure you follow the business page, not just like it.
There you go.
So, well, shit. All right, guys. I'm gonna go get a nap in. Mike, I don't know what he's gonna do. It's daytime there for him, but
it's all screwed up. I'm probably gonna try and finish working on this news thing or not, and then see you in a few hours.
All right, guys. Well, we will talk to you soon. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a wonderful morning.
Yep. Good night or
morning.
Good day.